Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival.
All right, that was Evil by the new band BPMD and their album American Made, a whole bunch of covers, which are just fabulously done. On the phone, I got their singer. You might recognize him from the band Overkill. Bobby-Blitz-Ellsworth. How you doing, Bobby?
What do you say, Jerry? Everything well here. How about yourself?
Going good. So give us a background on how this project started, because there's a lot of these super groups that are coming out, but I really like what you guys are doing with this one.
This was approximately a year ago. I got a call from Mr. Mengi, and we are just infamously known for busting each other's chops. Mm-hmm. And I thought I was getting my chops busted somewhere around midnight. But he had this idea, and it was spawned from his son, who was 8 years old at the time, Alex. They were in the backyard, a couple of beers. Well, obviously not for the kid.
Yeah, really.
You know what I'm saying? Hamburgers, hot dogs, and Diet Cokes probably for him. But it was just a barbecue, and they were blasting tunes. Alex really likes a bunch of the stuff that Mark has done, and said you ought to cover this tune. And Mark said, "Hey, it was a Skinner tune," and I thought that was ridiculous. And then I had a few more beers, and I said I could call Blitz. He grew up in this era.
Yeah.
And when the phone conversation started, I bought into it instantly. For me, it was like somebody asking me, "Hey, do you have a problem going back and reliving your youth?" I was like, "Dude, count me in." So that's by the end of that conversation, we had already suggested to use Mike Portnoy on the drums and Phil Demmel on the guitar, both because of not just their expertise at their instruments, but their fact of being kind of musical encyclopedias. Mm-hmm. These guys are all over the map with their likes. So that was the birth of it. And within 24 hours, we had a band, and we were gearing up to start choosing songs, etc.
Wow. So how'd you pick the songs?
Everybody got two. We made it kind of loose rules. Just to make it a little more interesting, not to just say, okay, we're going to have this, big talk sit down. I mean, the idea was spontaneous, and that's how it caught fire. So we said, okay, everybody gets two, and then we'll do two community picks. And, one of the rules is you can't veto the other guy's pick. If he says, I want to do this, you got to do it. So I thought that was kind of cool because it made it a little more challenging.
Yeah, definitely. Were there any songs that you were like, oh, I don't know about that, and then after it was done, you were like, holy cow, that's awesome?
Absolutely. I was, and they were both Phil Demmel picks. The DOA, Van Halen's DOA, and Tattoo Vampire by Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah, that one I didn't recognize, but I really liked the way you guys did it.
I'll tell you, I knew the song, but I never thought of myself in a position to ever be presenting Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah.
But it came out, when Mike opened that drum beat up and Phil started scratching those guitars over the beginning, it just started getting this kind of punky vibe. But when you go back to the original, it still has that integrity vibe we're talking about. It's totally recognizable with the original.
So what are you doing with Overkill these days? Anything in the works as far as new work, new music?
Well, we're all dealing with Peter Pandemic right now.
I know.
Right? I know. So, I'm not telling you something you don't know, right?
Yeah, really.
Really?
Yeah.
Where you been, under a rock?
No, I know, really.
But, we're trying to keep it business as usual. And I think that's what's keeping at least our camp a little normal. We're writing a record. I'm promoting the BPMD stuff. I'm writing a record. I'm painting my house. Working on motorcycles in the garage.
See, I pictured you out there gardening or something.
I do that too.
With that scream. You got such a great scream. When did you discover that you had this great scream that would just work so well?
I think probably in the early days, and it was just and this applies to the cover record too, is in the early days, you liken yourself to other singers. You're cutting your teeth around a microphone. If a guy's not like trained, he's trying to find his spot. And for me, I was cutting my teeth on stuff like Aerosmith or Judas Priest in the early days because they were really a 70s band. And when I was doing covers, I always thought I could sing the Halford screams, but I really couldn't. It was just this like explosion I would get of one note. And but I did realize soon thereafter that there was one Steven Tyler, there was one Rob Halford. So the idea was that I had to develop my own way of doing it, and that was probably from trying to mimic Halford. Out came that skyscraper approach to things I had.
Nice. Now, Overkill kind of gets overlooked when it comes to like thrash metal pioneers, which kind of isn't right because it shouldn't be the big four, it should be the big five. Do you find that to kind of got pushed by the wayside somehow from Metallica and all the Megadeth and all that stuff? Is that the way it's?
I get where you're going with this, but I mean that's I don't. I've got to do what I've got to do and love for going on 40 years. I've been in Overkill for 35 years.
Yeah.
And touring. So I don't have this frown on my face or this little bit of envy with regard to what could have been if we had sold more records.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. I mean, that popularity of that Big Four is based on record sale, and you have to respect that. Mm-hmm. And to some degree, I've always thought that we were a love or hate band, and partially that is because of my voice. It's not like everybody's digging it. I mean, I get it. It's not like, if it's not for you, I get it. Mm-hmm. So there is there's no position of envy on my end with regard to Overkill. I look at it more as I've had the opportunity to do what I love doing. Yeah. So it is a success regardless of what number that we're considered or whether we're considered an innovator or not. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I'm still living my life as I did when I was 20.
Nice. So how have you been able to keep your voice in shape? Because, I mean, you sound great on this BPMD album. How do you... that's a unique question. I don't really know. I think probably the biggest thing that's happened for me in the last decade was, I was... you couldn't run into me without a Marlboro dangling from my lips for the first 25 years, But about 10 years ago, I just dropped them. Was like, enough of this. Good call.
And all of a sudden, everything kind of came back. It wasn't as if it was gone, but man, the clarity was just awesome within that first year. So it was, let's just say it's something that was lucky. Wasn't, I was quitting for my health, not to get a better voice.
Yeah.
So the side effects were killer. I mean, it's helped me just continue doing what I do.
Cool. Now, when you recorded the BPMD, that name just gets me. I like it, but it just throws me off. What did you guys get in a room together and work out what you were going to do with each song, or was this more of internet sending this version over to this guy to check out, or?
Well, I think that when you brought up the feel of the record earlier, the reason it has a feel or has that authenticity is because we did get in the room. We flew Phil in. It was just going to be a rehearsal. If we got lucky, we got lucky. That kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. But about 2 hours into that rehearsal, maybe a couple of beers in, we hit record, and Mike Portnoy recorded those drum tracks in a 10-hour period on that day.
Wow!
Not into the next day. It was all done that day.
Nice.
So I think with that, we're really talking about a process that would have been used back in the 70s. Mm-hmm. That these are one takes. So it's played all the way through. It's not like, okay, punch me in. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to the end of the song. We might have redone the whole entire song, but every take is a playthrough from start to finish. So I think that what you get that way is when we started building on top of it with technology, Pro Tools. I'm taking it to Jersey. Mark's got it in Long Island. Phil's got it in San Francisco. That we had the great building block of, the authentic recording process with regard to how these songs would have been done originally.
Nice. So do you got a favorite technology you like nowadays when recording compared to back in the day when you had to just, like you said, like you did the basic tracks here, just run through the whole song? Nowadays it's copy paste kind of things going on.
I mean, that's true, but that's also, in my my world, I don't like copying and pasting. I like that each chorus is just a little bit different. I don't like, using technology to double my vocal. I like to double it physically. I like to sing it twice. So I don't like using auto-tune. I would think the best technology is just save. Because, in the old days, if somebody really? Didn't save it, you had no choice but doing it over.
Yeah, exactly.
Save.
Oh, man.
Because then it gives you the opportunity to, look at it objectively over the next day and then say, okay, does it work or does it not work? So I like that, you can go back in and do that. And I will go back in and fix. Like with Overkill, I'll fix a chorus or I'll fix a line like that. But for the most part, I really don't like cutting and pasting.
No. So this album's available on CD and, electronic download and all that. It's also available on vinyl. Are you pretty happy with the resurgence of vinyl?
I think for sure. And I think a band like this will attract, the vinyl hounds, the collectors.
Yep.
And I think that especially, just in general, music and the business of music, especially in metal, vinyl is kind of given, to some degree, it's given it a new life, especially at a time when revenues are at a minimum.
Yeah.
And costs can be at a maximum, with regard to touring, with regard to travel, not necessarily recording. So I think that it's good to have that extra revenue stream in there. It's you can't go download an album.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I actually ordered it, so I'm waiting to get my clear red vinyl. I really dig I like the sound of vinyl, and I like physically holding what I've got instead of, it's on my phone. Yeah, check out this album. It's on my phone, So
sure.
I really dig that. Now, this album actually closes with a couple really cool cowbell tunes, and I'm a big fan of cowbell here. Do you think there's any Overkill tunes that would have been even more popular with some cowbell?
Even more popular. I can't say that, but I can say this: that last year when we recorded, I forget what song it was. I think it might have been "Head of a Pin." It was Jason Bittner's first recordings with us, and I heard it popping in and out. Ting, 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 ting. So I don't like looking at the past, but with regard to the future, I think there's a distinct possibility with that young man and his singing off the charts sometimes. Nice.
Because I was hoping BPMD would do another album and just do all cowbell tunes. Because Portnoy's awesome on the cowbell, man.
No doubt about that.
So where can people get a hold of this record? Because people are definitely going to want to get this.
Oh, jeez! You can get it on Amazon. You can download it off Apple Tunes. You can iTunes. You can Apple Music, Amazon. You can get it through Napalm Records. I know they were selling packages with T-shirts. So it's available wherever. I know that we're not not so many mom and pops out there, record stores. We did do something for Newberry Comics, where we signed 300 of them.
Oh, nice.
They have them. You can purchase them online, or I don't know if there's stores open at this time or stores in New England.